but he just whispers. So if he whispers, hey man, you better back off because I'm gonna hurt you. Some people try to clown him off, because he's whispering. When he's got to talk, he's not going to talk with his mouth. He's going to talk with his body actions. And I don't care who you are. You could be a cop, you could be a judge. But if he say, hey, man, you better cut it out, the next thing that's coming your way, by that time he already made a plan that he's going to do something. So, somebody doesn't really have to yell in order for you to understand where that guy's coming from. And if you're always respectful, you don't got to worry about that guy, because most likely he probably wouldn't even say anything to you other than smile or whatever, because he knows you're cool. So you need to know who you're dealing with. And so negative people, sometimes they think that they can play that game on everybody, but the smart ones know. They be like, no, just give him some time to cool off, because he ain't playing that. By the time he's got to put his arm up, it's over. I mean, I know one guy that did that too. His name is Bronson, if you ever seen the movie. But they kept attacking him. He kept attacking back. And they didn't know what to do with him, so they just pumped him full of medications, and he was just spitting blubber at the end. He was just, they just medicated him so much that he was just a bundle of spit. You look at him, his eyes were gone, because he was honest negative. In other words, he wanted somebody to treat him right so he could treat you right. But if you disrespect him, there's no boundary that he would stop to make sure that you felt the pain that he was feeling. So that they did that. First he did that with people, then the government got involved, and then he was blowing up buildings. The guy was just a menace because he had no control over himself. He was an honest negative, but nobody showed him love. And they just came up, hey man, you seem like a nice guy. Do you like to read? Offer him something to do. So other than just be this Charles Bronson guy, tough guy, offer him something. He could have been a painter, a writer, a poet, and maybe a nice wife, who's real sweet to him and keep him calm, and he would know not to do it. Or somebody teach him the human instruction, and therefore he was really. You never know how far he would have went. But if you teach these people with this negative reinforcement crap, and you just want to frighten them into kowtowing, some people was not going to frighten, and they're not going to kowtow. It's either a question of, you're going to learn from this guy because he's got something to teach you, if he's just that straight up, or you're going to just take him out, and in which you lose, probably your country's going to lose, and because you already cursed your whole, by the very laws that you have made. So that's why even certain countries, that if the guy's really, really honest and square, they'll be like, well, you know what? We attacked him. Just leave him be. He's not gonna, he's not gonna go out and destroy anybody, because that's not his style. If anything, he'll help his neighbor plant a garden. He'll help you move. He can help the poor, or he just help people. But that pisses them off. But he's not doing anything wrong. Even if they do wrong, he's not going to go out and attack him. And that's what that made him just frighten him more, because he's unbribable. He just doesn't play that. He just doesn't fall that. That's the Christ effect, going all the way. And the Job effect too. The Job is like, they didn't have to kill him, but Job actually went to some of the way in which Job figured it out. Hey, I'm not going to be negative even after all these negatives hit me. That's when he figured it out at the end. And as soon as he figured it out, the Lord blessed him. So they try to project these, and there's. They're trying to be like you, but they're not like you. In order just to gain your confidence, they like to flip and flop, be all over the place. Again, IDD and your objectives. Go IDD, IDD, IDD. So it's distract, disrupt. So it's prolong or block your objectives. Prolong, object, or confuse your objective. Prolong, block, or confuse your objective. Which means that if they're blocking you, reschedule it, do it somewhere else. If they're prolonging, well, you can either wait patiently, which is, it'll help you learn to be patient, or you can just do it somewhere else, but be positive about it. Just don't act a fool, because then you're destroying yourself. And the other one is confused. In other words, you see the duality of it. Focus on your objective. If another guy is trying to distract you to your left, and you know the objective is to your right, you look to your right. Again, following the objective. If everything was done that way, things would be done quicker, more efficient, less money being lost, mostly stolen. So they get all the poor people to do all the work and gain all the taxes just so they could spend it the way they want it, because they created this structure that to trickle down to certain societies that do this kind of things, which causes more problems. Some people start hoarding. It becomes a problem with these negative people. They create negative attributes by their own negative structure. So they make any objective harder, all in an effort to get you to feel negative. They may ask you for a lot more stuff. Asking for, some people just nitpick. Hey, you got this, you got that. It's like every day. It's like, what, they call that being responsible for other people, making a mountain out of a molehill, teaching you one way when it be another way, saying it's one way, but it's you find out later it's another way, or you have to do something later this way, and it's not that way. So it's misinformation, misperception, misrepresentation, mislead you, jumbling information, negative like for like, which means negative parents or negative teachers trying to teach you one way, but it's another way. Mining, just like constant problem waiting for you to, poking a bear, ganging up on you, trying to get you to feel self-conscious, trying to get you to feel regret, wanting you to find negative solution, making choices out of fear or anger, as opposed to logic and reasoning. Saying you was wrong when you was right. One-word sentences. If they're using one-word sentences, use one-word sentence with the opposite meaning with them if they're using that. Like, you're angry, they'll say love. But they'll say love when they're using hate. So if they say love, you say hate. But depending if you want to play the game. But, again, you don't want to overtalk. Wait to respond. Keep it positive. Don't raise your voice. At least make an attempt to talk in a low manner. Not being like for like. Again, the catch-22 is they expect you to go left or right, but so they want you to go east or west. Then you go north or south. You got to think out of the box. And then they'll be like, damn, what made them do that? It's funny when you understand the whole science to it, because technically they're trying to get you to say yes or no, or something like that. But then, again, it's not always yes or no. Sometimes you don't even want to answer because it's a set-up question. But then they'll say, well, you didn't answer, but the whole thing was illogical. But they're going to try to make it out to be logical. But again, if you got a crooked judge, they'll just follow along. Let me see. Some people try to act like they're your superior, and trying to get you to talk a lot. False accusations. We went over. Saying that you were being loud or rude and obnoxious when you wasn't. Telling you when you're angry, when you're not angry, or if you have a right to be angry, saying you're not to be angry. But some people can have a right to be angry because they've just been abused, so they can feel angry. But learning how to dial it back and at least communicate in such a way that you are not looking like the animal that they are. But they try to make you out to be, at least. disrespecting you, again, constant problems, constant attacking, or at least making an attempt like they're going to try to hurt you, acting stupid when they're really intelligent, or saying you're stupid for no reason other than just to say the word, being loud and right next to you, and there's no reason to be loud. I'm like, you're right next to me. What are you yelling? You know, gossiping. Having a clear meaning of what you said, and after you said everything, they'll be like, well, "What do you mean?" Like you had said nothing. After you just told them what you meant. How many times you got to tell them what you meant? Again, knowing the pattern. It's all a pattern. Talking over you. Every time you talk, they want to talk over you. And so you're talking, they're just talking and talking. You're talking, they're talking and talking. But if they talk, they don't want to be interrupted or talked over. It's only when technically conversation is like tennis, you know. You're supposed to, one person lobs the ball, you get the ball, you lob it back, and, you know, you get a nice game of tennis going on. But these people don't do that. And all they want to do is toss the 5 servings. When they're supposed to get one serve, they just throw the serve, just keep throwing the ball at you, and they don't want you to hit the ball back. It's like they want you to stay there and take their abuse. That's conditioning at its finest when you see that. And sometimes judges do that. They just stand there, just rip it in there. Just, you know, if you're a judge, you'd be like, well, you know what you did, this is what happened, and there's the... But then they would lie and say things. They're just trying to irritate you even angrier. And then some people get really angry, and some people, you know. Again, knowing what you did, because if you were innocent, you know this whole thing was a scam, and whatever they sowed, they're going to reap. And you just continue being positive. And it gets to the point where some people will be like, well, you don't belong here. You know, meaning... Why are you incarcerated? There's no reason for you to be incarcerated. They know that. Prisoners and police will be like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. But what are you going to say? They'll say, what are you going to do? Just eat your chow and get back in line and go to sleep or whatever you got to do. But some people, it's just that blatantly honest that they'll be like, what's the arresting officer's name? Why did they do this? Or what's the reasoning behind this? And then the people who want to prosecute, are in there giggling like it's some kind of joke. So they're in there, not even prosecuting. Some people will be like, no, I'm not pressing charge. But then this whole thing was fake, and they'll go to court laughing and giggling. Like it was just the greatest joke. Like they won $20 or $1,000 or whatever, $1 million. So, you know, and then some people redirect you. You say, I'm going left. No, we're not going left. We're doing this. We're doing that. No, we're not doing that. And then not let you have input nor listen. It's like for some reason, they think they're your superior again. And some people will just apologize to hurt you again, apologize to hurt you again, apologize to hurt you again. When you apologize, that means you're not going to continue on this. At least... if you know what's going on, because if the apology is not sincere, if they're going to continue to hurt you, it's just like for forgiveness of God. When you ask Him for forgiveness, or you want to be sincere about something, you're not continuing to regurgitate the same problem. Or like if you owe somebody some money and they're going to hurt you, and you know they're going to hurt you, and they say, you know what, I'm going to let you slide, but then somebody owes them less than they owed you, and they're going to want to hurt them. And then some people go back to, hey man, I'll let you slide for $1,000, you're not going to let him slide for $5? And they put it on there. I was like, oh, if that's the case, then let's go by your rules then. And that's when reality. And does it really have to take that long for you to awaken? For some people to awaken, to realize what they're doing? And so some people wait for you to do something. Know what your objectives are. If your objective is to keep a clean house, and to make sure you're cooking, you're cleaning, whatever the case may be, you're making dinner or whatever. Some people don't want to do anything and expect you to do everything. And then you're like, hey, can you clean the house, or can you make a deal? Make a meal for me or something? And the first words that you can hear out of some people say, I'm not your slave. You'd be like, what? So you're not, what did you just say? She said, she or he could say, well, I'm not your slave. And I'll be like, you mean to tell me I cook and clean for a month straight, I asked you to cook one meal, and you're not my slave? I was like, are you somebody's slave when somebody asks you to wipe your butt? Or, you're doing this for your own benefit. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm asking you to do, or the person's not asking you to do everything for them. I'm talking about you cook, you clean, you do all this stuff. Or suppose, hypothetically, you went to work and you're the only one that works. You take care of all the bills. You do everything. You go home. You're tired. You just sat down. Now you just finished working 12 hours, and then your partner will tell you, well, what's for dinner? I said, look, I cook, I clean, I'm taking care of the apartment, doing all the bills. You got several cars here. You got money in the bank, and I sit down and you're asking me for what's for dinner. I'm like, you thinking it's just, what's wrong with this person? So, you're not being dumb. The next day you come home full. They'd be like, and believe it or not, they ask again, what's for dinner? So this is how you got to live and learn. I'll be like, I don't know what you have for dinner. I just finished eating steak. Now you're the bad guy. They ain't cooked, they ain't clean, they ain't done nothing. Talk about, what, am I a slave? Are you got to be a slave to wash your dishes? Do you got to be a slave to take a bath? Are you got to be a slave to clean your house? I said, I heard of high maintenance, but man, if you got a significant other, a boyfriend or a girlfriend that doesn't want to wash the dishes or cook the supper or clean the clothes when you're busy doing something else and you're tired, that's like you take care of somebody when they're sick all their life, and then they get better and you get sick, and then they leave town and leave you right there. But see, that you should have known that long ago, because this pattern of behavior of thoughts was the code is apparent for those who are willing to see. In the Bible, it says, when they're talking about sight, they're not talking about your sight as into your vision, but the sight in reality and the truth of it all as to what is going on. So they're being dumb, illogical, forgetful, erroneous, continuous mistakes, erroneous perceptions, implying, seeming to favor the enemy and taking other people's side on lies. And love bombing is, somebody's acting like they're all sweet and nice, but when you get to the core, if you want to know what kind of person a person really is, if they start love bombing you, insult them a couple times and see where they stand. If you get them to act real crazy, and you be like, yeah, this person has no control over themselves. But if you can agitate a person, not always, just like once, just to see what kind of person, cut it to the quick. See what kind of person this person is. And if you do something like that and they're all cool, I say, yeah, baby, take it easy. What's wrong? You okay? What can I do for you? Is this, give her a massage, or, be nice, or, would you like a nice tea or something? And then you know what kind of person you got on your hands. Some people, again, try to hide this over time, but there's always little things that inevitably, if they break the code, then you'll know what's going on, and you're not going to play into that. So the very second they become argumentative, you just smile. Game over. It's done. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Nah, I'm not going to debate you. You want to argue for the sake of it. I have plenty of people, they try to act like they're my friend, but then later on, they would just be a backstabber. But that's who they are. They're backstabbers. They try to play like their friend and they backstab you. There was no reason for it. It was uncalled for. They became ignorant because they chose to, or probably because there was something in it for them. you'd be surprised how many people are willing to hurt you for a couple of dollars, doing a couple of things. Oh, there's nothing wrong, but you're hurting the other person, And eventually you're gonna get yours. It's only a matter of time. Tick, tick, tick. It's coming. It's coming for you. Unless you learn how to stop that, and then you continue on the positive side, then the people are going to be against you.